Welcome to Brutally Honest Talk Radio. This is Elmo, the conservative, and I am coming to you today to ask you if you knew that there is no DEI in heaven. Did you know that? There is no DEI in heaven. And I'm saying that to say that God does not want us to implement that policy here on earth. God is such a great leader and teacher that he leads by example. So let me start with this. What is DEI? Diversity, equity, inclusion. What is that? Well, diversity is a variety of people, races, and the left or the far left wanted to expand that into sexuality and having a variety of everything. So an exponential number of groups and a variety. I mean that's what diversity really means in whatever it is. Equity. Equity is getting an equal share. What you get, your return on your investment or the outcome or the profit. So that I'm just saying what these words are, okay? And then I'm going to say what the Democrats would tell you it means. So diversity is a variety, equity is what people receive, what they get. And inclusion means including, letting people in. I'm trying not to get into what their version of it is, but that's basically what those words mean. Okay? And so now those words have been turned around to mean something different, and it's got to do with hiring and promoting people. So diversity in hiring. Any business person and any business organization, any board of directors knows that it is better for a company and more profitable if you have the most qualified people that you could have. That's what you look for. If you truly have this in your hiring practices, you're going to have a variety of people. So notice in the equal opportunity employment thing, it says there is no, or we do not practice discrimination on the basis of race, color, creed, religion, and different things. But they do discriminate. They discriminate against people that are not educated or not skilled, or they come into the interview stinking, or they're not articulate, or whatever it is. So some discrimination is good. It's just that certain others are not, because there are things that people have about them, the way that they look or their religion or whatever, that you just should not discriminate against people because of that. So the Democrats and the far left, they want to tell you that diversity means we need more people because it looks good, it feels good. We have a variety of different races within whatever it is, anywhere from the staff at a school to the Supreme Court. But this is what really should be done. You get the best and most qualified people for that job, you're going to have a better run organization. And as soon as you start trying to divide and make diverse, then you have to fractionalize and determine how many of a certain race that you need to have in. For some people. For others, they say, okay, well, you got some of this race or every race in there, so that's good. Others will be like, why don't you have more? Why isn't there more in there? And so if you're gonna get into that, it's just too hard to regulate this. Wouldn't it be better? Wouldn't it be more fair to take into account within a city, within an area, how many Mexicans or Asians or Black people or Israelis or Middle Easterners or whatever race you want to have, how many live in that city? Because if you have 5% and you want to represent that in the workplace, then it would be represented differently than if 30% of a city were that race. So this is having to do with money. So diversity of hiring, equity. When the Democrats say equity, they're talking about equity of outcome. That means that everybody gets the same amount or close to the same amount, regardless of how good you are at your job, regardless of how well you do what you do and how skilled you are. Everybody gets the same amount, which is language and formula for communism. Everyone according to their needs. Everyone needs to give according to what they can offer, and everyone receives according to their needs. That's the government getting involved again in trying to regulate people. So bear with me now, bear with me, because I'm going to end this with tying it into the Bible and the church. And then I want you to take what I'm saying to your pastor, challenge him, and ask him or her, just what they think about this. And then inclusion means not leaving anyone out. I mean, they're masters of crafting feel good words. We don't want to leave anybody out. Well, some people are going to get left out. We do this in our personal social circles. We even do this in our own families. There are relatives, cousins, nieces, nephews, uncles, aunts that are left out, that are not included. That's what inclusion or inclusivity means. Letting everybody in. You can't let everybody in because everybody ain't good. Some people are dangerous. And then, of course, they want to use this to appeal to every group, and they're the group, they are the political party of identity politics. They want to make this true. They want to use this discrimination because that's what it is. They want to apply this discrimination to races and sexualities and say, we want to let an LGBT person, whatever their sexual preference may be, we want to take that into account when we're hiring them and letting them in more than we look at their skills. Where, again, if you just do this, they're going to be hired. It That's not something that anybody can be proud of. They used to call it tokenism, where they would get some blacks in every company, or they would get one or two or whatever. That would be their tokens. That's what they used to call diversity. And affirmative action is a similar thing. There was a time when we needed it. We don't need it now. There used to be discrimination, and so it's all about balancing and making it fair. Now that it is balanced, and this is not something I've seen in America today in modern times, where people who have a valuable skill can't get a job or get included in the basic necessities that people need to be included in. So let me come back to this, okay? Let me come back to, or take the DEI to the Bible and what it says. Because I know a lot of you that are listening are Christians or claim to be Christians. And I am definitely a Christian. I live by the Bible. So the DEI politics or promotion of the Democrats is anti-biblical, which all of the Democrats' policies are anti-biblical. And if you have questions about that, or you want me to go into it, you can email me at brutehonest.radio@gmail.com. So just a few examples from the Bible. The Bible says in the book of Proverbs that everyone will be rewarded according to what he has done. Race never comes into play, or gender or age or anything else. And that's talking about here on earth and in heaven. Everyone will be rewarded. There's a reward. The believer believes that there is a reward waiting for us in heaven according to what we have done. God said this when he was talking about forgiveness. By the same forgiveness that you have others, that's how much forgiveness I'm going to have towards you. So another thing is, in heaven, there are 7 levels of heaven. And any biblical scholar or theologian will tell you this. Anyone who's studied the Bible knows, and Paul saw this in a vision of the different levels also. There are different levels of heaven, 7 levels. Jehovah the Father and Jesus are in one level. They're not in the other 6. So I guess for the biggest saints, or the ones who God is most proud of in saying, well done, my good and faithful servant, they will be in that heaven with Jesus and the disciples and the Father. Now, I heard that anywhere in heaven is good. It's all good. I mean, you got St. Thomas, and you got Maui, and you got Hilton Head, you got the French Riviera, you got Dubai. You have these different elaborate places, and Diamond Head. Is that the name of it in Phoenix, Arizona? I went to this resort. It's like a compound. It's all this different stuff that you can do. So there's different levels to this. All right. So this is what God said. And in heaven, there's nothing in the Bible that's indicating that God would say, in this level of heaven and in this level and with these crowns and these riches, we need to have more black people over here. We need to have more women. We need to have more overweight people. We need to, based on the way that we look, we need to have more of them. Or, it's not a lot of Muslims in heaven. We need to bring some more Muslims in heaven so that we can have more diversity. That's not the way it works. God is fair. He looks at your heart. And when you stand before him at the Bema seat, your race is not going to come up. That conversation will be about your heart and the kind of person you are and how you've treated others. So anyway, there's a straight connection with that. And I look at people the way that God looks at people. He looks at your heart. And when I see any human being, I see a creation of God. Now, many people are lowlifes in the way that they live. They act like animals, and it's okay to say that and be honest. And this is why I say back when MS-13 was really infiltrating the country in Texas and other parts, they were coming in, and this gang was violently killing people. And Trump said that these people are animals. Some of them, part of practicing satanic rituals, would stab people dozens of times, and some of them will cut out their heart. So if you do that, you're an animal. What he means is that you're acting like an animal. So again, Christians, people that purport to know the Bible, remember that Jesus called the Pharisees, who were members of the church, he said, "You brood of vipers." Now, he knew that they were human. What he was saying was that they were acting like vipers or acting like snakes. So you got to tell the truth. If you don't tell the truth, you're not going to be able to change anything or make anything better or lead people in a good direction that they should go in. So I want you to take this idea that I haven't heard anyone else say to your pastor about diversity, equity, inclusion. God is a capitalist. Everything he touches, he multiplies. When you are being like God in any way, you are blessed. You are being good. He shines on you. He loves it. And this is why the entrepreneurial spirit is a godly spirit, because you truly step out on faith. You take a seed of your money instead of spending all your money. You're not supposed to eat the whole thing, seeds included. You're supposed to take part of it and reinvest or start something. You put this seed underground where you and no one else can see it, and you cultivate it best you can and hope that God blesses it with rain and hope that it grows. That's how God created Eve. You might even say that Adam's rib was a seed, that he didn't just start with nothing. He took a rib out of Adam and used that to create Eve. So it's a good thing. This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to step out on faith. We're supposed to plant seeds. So anyway, uh, thank you. I just came on here, and that is the topic of the week this week. And so let me know what you think. Feel free to put it in the comments. And of course, you can email me. But there is no DEI in heaven, and I want to be like God. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, of course, Facebook. You're looking for Brutally Honest Talk Radio, just do a search. And if you haven't already, subscribe, click the notification bell, and share this. And we will catch you on the next episode. God bless you.